Oh, hello. A little follow-up to yesterday's video. So today we're going to find out what the Kill Team Sentries rules are, because the rules have leaked from the upcoming White Dwarf. They've posted over on Reddit, and we're going to have a look at them and a chat about them now. Before I get started, I want to say two things. The first is, I put my video up yesterday speculating in good faith. About 20 minutes later, as I was lying in bed on my phone, as you do, which bad habit, but we all do it. Somebody linked me the leaks from White Dwarf. Always the way. So I did put that video up without having read them, so it was in good faith. The second thing is, I know some people are a bit leery about leaks. I've seen the expression on Twitter a bit like, "Oh, why do these people leak these things? Why are the leakers? It's ruining stuff." I'm torn because some people, I don't want to upset anybody. Some people are obviously really upset by the fact that stuff comes out early and stuff leaks. And I get that, the people that work for Games Workshop in the community team are very passionate about what they do. They genuinely want to have, they work hard to show things a certain way. And they take pride in everyone takes pride in their job. They take pride in their job. And so when stuff leaks in this kind of slightly blurry, yellowy photograph kind of way, I guess they get a little bit upset because it's not the way they meant for stuff to be showcased. And there's the commercial bit as well. Like, if you really wanted to, you could clip the images out of the video, and like scale them up and put them in a dodgy. Well, frankly, I don't think I'm. I don't know. I'm certainly going to buy the White Dwarf anyway. For me, this whole thing is an expression of my love and devotion and the joy that these games bring me. And like I said in the previous video about speculation, I just want to get stuck into stuff. If I could have the entire year's releases now, absolutely I would have it. Like, for me personally, leaks don't dampen my enthusiasm for stuff. Like, to take not a Kill Team example, but that Horus Heresy box that's coming out in June, I'm still really excited for it. And we've had blurry pictures of that for feels like over a year. I really enjoy leaks, and I really enjoy talking about them. And I don't think that for me, it doesn't. It complements Games Workshop's official marketing and stuff, and it works in a complementary way. But I know some people are anti-league and they wish people wouldn't do it. I don't want to upset anybody, but it's my channel and it's the sort of thing that I want to do. So if you don't like it, dislike the video, turn it off now, wait for the proper White Dwarf to come out. If that's your bag, no harm, no foul, it's a total difference of opinion. But I'm going to talk about the leaks, okay? That's my hand wringing done. We're going to talk about the leaks now, okay? Good. So, first of all, the important thing to say is I was right. I didn't get to say that last time. I predicted something, but this is Sentries as is relevant to the 4th edition of Kill Team, where they have these rules for the Goon Squads kind of going around semi-randomly. And as Zimbad pointed out to me 3 times today while we were at work, of course, Kill Team in 4th Ed didn't invent Sentries. The Sentries rule has been around since the original version of Necromunda. May even have been in Rogue Trader in 40k for all I know, but it's certainly been around since Necromunda. But I wanted the excuse to look back at the historical versions of Kill Team. I guess that's what I was deciding to do. So let's dig in. So Sentries, missions from the Critical Operations Sentries mission pack. So that's worth. So we've started reading. Sorry, this is going to be Man Reads Leak, as it were. We've started, and I want to start off with this critical operations. Right now, some people think that is significant because in the core book, critical operations refers to the standard kind of matched play mission pack, and shadow operations refers to the narrative rules. And so some people have argued that it's significant that these are called critical operations, because that would imply that they were designed for matched play. I am not sure. I think you could probably play them in match play. Certainly play them in one-off games. They don't have to be played in a linked campaign, which I think could be what they mean by that. I don't know whether... Well, let's go through the rules and we'll discuss it at the end, right? But bear that in mind. So missions from the Critical Operations Sentries mission pack use the Sentries mission rule, which is a prologue to the battle in which you will play through a series of sentry patrols. The attacker's intruders can attempt to infiltrate the kill zone, take up key positions, and complete objectives ahead of the main assault. The defender's sentries must attempt to stop the intruders by patrolling the kill zone and discovering them. If a mission uses the Sentries mission rule, the following changes take effect for the mission sequence. In the setup operatives step, operatives are not set up as normal. Instead, the defender sets up 2 sentries with an engage order, and the attacker sets up 1 intruder with a conceal order. These are operatives from their kill team, and they must be set up wholly within the player's drop zone. They cannot use any rules that allow them to set up elsewhere, which I think is significant. I've been skipping over the parentheses when I don't think it's significant, but I think that's significant. Okay, so you have to pick. If you're the attacker, you pick your 1 intruder, your elite commando, yeah, and if you're the defender, you pick up your 2 sentries. In the scouting step, players do not select and resolve pre-game scouting options. Instead, they resolve sentry patrols as described below. So this replaces the number of dice in a hand, closed fist thing, the scouting step. Victory points cannot be scored during a sentry patrol. Once the alarm is raised, continue the battle as described opposite. Okay, so what we've got here is a new phase, a more involved phase, that replaces the scouting step. Okay, so it's gonna add time to your game. Sentry patrol. Sentry patrols are conducted in rounds, each of which consists of a sentry phase and an intruder phase. In the sentry phase, the defender selects 1 of their sentries. Bear in mind they'll have 2, and both players roll off. If their results are the same, the sentry performs a pass action. If the defender's result is higher than the attacker's, the defender performs a normal move with that sentry. If the attacker's result is higher than the defender's, the attacker performs a normal move action with that sentry. Each time a sentry performs a normal move action in the sentry phase, the player moving it rolls 1d6 and moves the operative a number of triangle increments equal to the result of the d6. Right, so you roll off, whoever wins gets to move the sentry d6 inches, is what that's saying. Okay, if you draw, the sentry does nothing. So this is a version of what was in the 4th edition rules. There's no collapse encounters, there's no kind of the sentries gradually becoming more aware and increasing the chance of the player whose miniatures they are getting to control them. There's just a straight roll off. And the winner gets to move the sentry d6 inches. Okay. You repeat the process until all the defender's sentries have been moved or passed, or until the alarm is raised. So there's 2 sentries, so you do one then the other, unless the sentry manages to raise the alarm. So the defender selects 1 of their sentries, both players roll a dice, the attacker's result is a 4, the defender's result is a 2, the attacker performs a normal move, the attacker rolls 1d6, rolls a 3, they move 3 inches. Right, fine. Good. And then, so that's the defender's turn, doesn't necessarily get to control his dudes. And then in the intruder phase, the attacker activates their single intruder as if it were the firefight phase, but they must have a conceal order. They can only perform dash, normal move, pass, or mission actions. So I read that they must have a conceal order, and I'm like, right, well, I'm choosing my crossbow to shoot from conceal. No, you can only dash, normal move, pass, so, or do mission actions. So you can't attack as an intruder. You can't like assassinate their sentries. That's fine. Good. So you're moving and you're potentially doing mission actions, but not ones off your cards. Mission actions from the mission pack, which we're going to look at in a second. Okay. Raising the alarm. The alarm is raised if any of the following conditions are met. The intruder is in a sentry's line of sight. Note that as the intruder always has a conceal, it must be visible, not obscured, and not in cover to be in a sentry's line of sight. Or the intruder is visible and within blue of a sentry. Or the intruder is within red of the defender's drop zone unless otherwise specified. or the attacker chooses to begin the assault, or any other conditions specified by the mission. So as the defender, you have the pretty tricky job. You've got to get line of sight on this concealed guy, who must be visible, not obscured, and not in cover. So visible, not obscured, and not in cover, which is interesting. I'm immediately thinking of novitiates. Can they spend faith points in the sentry step to do blinding light to give themselves cover? I'll have to check the precise letter of the when you spend the faith points and if you could do it outside of the relevant phases, right? Probably not, and that wouldn't be the spirit of the rules anyway. But it is just what entered my brain. But probably it says you have to be in the firefight phase, not simply moving as if it were the firefight phase. Although, how much weight does that as if carry? Like, I wouldn't do this, but it is where my brain went. When the alarm is raised, the patrol ends their action and the players set up their remaining operatives as specified by the setup operative step of the mission sequence. They cannot use any rules that allow them to set up operatives elsewhere. So this whole pack is like a massive nerf to Wormblade and anyone else with rules for setting up their operatives in interesting ways. The players then begin the battle as normal with the following rules. In the first initiative phase, the players roll off and the winner decides who has the initiative. During the first turning point, during the initiative phase you roll off and the winner, so it's a straight roll off for initiative. There's no proviso there, although they might have intended it, but there's not this normal mechanic of if it's a draw, the attacker wins the draw, like the person who was already the attacker, so it's just a straight roll off. During the first turning point, each time an operative that was set as an intruder or a sentry change their order. So, on the face of it, before we look at the missions, the attacker picks one model that they can move to get into a better position so they can move up the board to a forward position. The defender has two models that they only have limited control over that are going to wobble around nebulously trying to spot the sentry. It's trying to spot the attacker. So it kind of sucks for the defender, right? Because the attacker has a decent chance of getting their miniature somewhere really good. The defender is just going to get two models badly positioned. So straight away, if you're playing as like Heretic Astartes, and you've got to get two defenders, right? So that's a third of your team, yeah. And then if you wanted, this is not going to be a system for people that want to play the game in a cutthroat way, right? Because you could get your attacker and hide him behind a wall somewhere and just pass infinity times, because when to end the sentry phase is almost entirely within the attacker's gift, and you could keep milling it until you were satisfied that the two Space Marine defenders were in stupid places, right? If you really wanted to, and then you just go, fine, I'm done. And then there's two Space Marines that you can get a clear. If you then get the first turn, you just get your Plasma Gunner out, and you've got certainly one dead Space Marine, because you can move the other one back in his then first turn, but you've certainly got to guarantee yourself a kill, which against an elite team is pretty punishing. Whereas if the defending player was Krieg or Wormblade, you'd pick two, or I think you'd pick two GA2 units for your sentries. Then if needs be, and you got the first turn, you could whip them both back behind cover or whatever you wanted to do. Like, I'm sure there's more to it than that, but it just strikes me that it is vulnerable to being cheesed like that. Now, maybe when we go through the mission rules, they actually do have things that are set up as objectives for the attacker to accomplish in the sentry phase, and giving up those objectives will result in a very one-sided game for the defender. So maybe getting out there and trying to achieve those objectives is going to be better than trying to mill the positioning of the defenders. But you could in theory, if you had infinite time to burn and you didn't mind your opponent hating you, you could spend ages milling the defenders to really stupid places and then start trying to move your guy out, right? If you really wanted to. Now, let's just have a little speculate about this paragraph that I missed off. Designers note the Sentries mission rule presented in this publication, which is to say White Dwarf, differs slightly from that presented in Kill Team Morlock, not Murdoch. That was the pilot from the A-Team. Fuck it. Kill Team Murdoch. It has simply been modified as appropriate for the missions presented in this publication. It does not supersede the mission rule for that publication. Two things this implies to me. Does it imply that Kill Team Murdoch is coming out soon? As in this month, to be vaguely contemporaneous with this White Dwarf, which, remember, this is an early leak. But the fact they're mentioning it, does that mean that this box is coming out this month? Which will make sense, because I think the Horus Heresy is coming out in June, and they probably want to try and limit one big box per month, just for their logistics and their stores and nothing else, right? But secondly, it means that when Kill Team Murdoch does come out, it's going to have some version of this rule. Presumably, in that book, this will be part of their narrative. So in all the big Kill Team boxes, they include a brand new narrative campaign. I reckon Sentries will be part of the narrative campaign in Kill Team Morlock. I should say that properly. Yeah, Kill Team Morlock. Okay. I've still got a really stuffy nose, so it's really hard for me to enunciate certain things. Morlock. Okay, there we go. So, let's look at the missions. So these are the first two. Mission 1, secure the approach. Enemy forces have been spied, massing in a shrouded location. Watchful sentinels guarding the approach to their only weak points. The enemy's eyes must be blinded to that approach to secure so that a full assault can be made. I can't read, I mangled that so much. Okay. Mission rules, sentries, which we've just looked at. The alarm is also raised if there are 3 active objective markers. See secure approach below. Secure approach, 1 action point. An operative can perform this action while it controls a non-active objective marker until the end of the battle. That objective is active. The objective marker is active, right? Mission objective, at the end of each turning point for each active objective marker, see the secure approach action above. Friendly operatives control, you score 1 VP to a maximum of 4 VPs per player per turning point. So, okay, right. This is actually quite cool, isn't it? Because what this means is, if you look at the map, the objectives, there are 2 in the middle and 2 on the attacker's side and 2 on the defender's side. And the sentries phase gives you the chance to turn on, for the attacker, you have the chance to turn on 3. So the thing automatically ends after 3. You're not going to be able to turn on the 2 on the defender's side, because those will be within red of the defender's drop zone, so you can't go that far. So you're going to turn on 3 of the 4 that are either on your side or in the middle. So if you're a real, like, I guess what you're going to do really is want to turn on the 2 closest to you, but I guess if you're a real baller, you're going to try and turn on the 2 in the middle and one of the ones nearest you, right? And then that saves you having to spend AP on mission actions during the game itself, which is really valuable if you're a 2 APL team, as most teams are, because if you can turn on one of those ones in the middle, and then you've also got to have your sentry actually ending in the middle, so your sentry's going to be on one of the objectives. If you've got movement shenanigans, I'm thinking, like the novitiates, penitents who can get extra circle to move, you could potentially get near to the other one. Maybe you don't activate 2 in the middle. Maybe you activate the 2 at your end and the 1 in the middle, and you finish on the 1 on the middle. That's the ideal play. Now, you've still got your barricades, but you won't be able to get a barricade on the 1 in the middle quite. So, depending how the board was set up, you might be able to get kind of cozy down there on your conceal order on the objective at the start of the game. The defender is trying to stop you. Here's my problem with this. That's really cool for the attacker. Is it that much? Well, the map is asymmetric, so the defender has an advantage in that their objectives are easier for them to hold. Right, especially if you are a more elite team. So I think if I'm Space Marines, or except it goes against what I said before. So if I'm playing Plague Marines or Space Marines or something like that, part of me wants to take the defender drop zone because my 3 APL means that I don't really care nearly as much. I have to turn on the objective before I can score it. Because I can still move and dash and turn it on. And I also would like, with less bodies, to be clustered on the side where the objectives are more clustered, were easier to hold, my 2 home objectives, right? But because I can stand on that centre line and I can hold both of those objectives, right? Because they're within a radius sight. Again, one model on the defender's side, so that's why it's asymmetric. But if I'm Space Marines, then I'm going to have 2 defenders that are totally out of position, potentially. I think that's a really interesting mission. I think it's quite well done. So the attacker has up to 3, if they play a perfect game, up to 3 objectives they don't have to activate on their half of the table. But the defenders are easier to hold with fewer models. I like that. Mission 2, Advance Capture. Under the very noses of the enemy, one brave or reckless operative slips into dangerous territory alone. Vital assets must be wrested from the enemy early before they responded. Force, and the main attack begins. Mission rules. The alarm is also raised if an intruder performs a secure asset 3 times. So similar, right? You can do it 3 times. Alpha A. No, Alpha. Learn to read. Alpha. At the end of the select drop zone step, the defender, so the person with the sentries, selects one marker to be their alpha objective and moves its circle directly towards their kill zone edge. The attacker selects one objective marker to be their alpha objective. They cannot select the defenders and moves its circle directly towards their kill zone edge. Okay, so you got 3 in the middle. The attacker and defender both get to move one circle towards their kill zone edge. Secure asset. An operative can perform this action while it controls the objective marker. Move the objective marker up to circle directly towards your kill zone edge. Each objective marker can only be moved once per intruder phase and once per turning point. Claim asset. An operative can perform this action while it controls the objective marker until the start of the next turning point or until an enemy kill team claims that objective marker. That objective marker is claimed by your kill team. This action cannot be performed during a sentry patrol. So in the sentry patrol, you can pull your objectives towards you. So both of you get 1 for free, a circle towards each edge for free to stagger it, and then the attacker can get 3 circles of move of their objective back towards their line, right? Yeah? Hang on. So the attacker gets to move things back to that. You could move the one that you moved after the select drop zone step that you moved circle. You could move that another 3 times and have that 4 circle back towards your kill zone edge from the middle. Or you could move 3 of them once, or I don't know what the best play is, but what gives me pause is what's the balance here? At the end of the turning point, at the end of the battle, if 1 or more objective markers are claimed by your kill team, you score 1 VP. If more objective markers are claimed by your kill team than are claimed by your opponent's kill team, you score 1 VP. If your opponent's alpha objective marker is claimed by your kill team, you score 1 VP. Am I being really stupid? I don't understand how this isn't just biased towards the... Like, the first one had a really good, like, this but that. It was, like, asymmetric but balanced. This just seems like in Mission 2, the attacker has a chance to move the objectives further towards them. Let me read this rule first. At the end of the select drop zone step, the defender selects one objective marker to be their alpha objective and moves its circle towards their kill zone edge. Yeah, the defender gets to pick first, so the defender will have one of the markers of their choice moved towards them, which is slight, but I still think it's biased. This one, biased towards the attacker. I don't like that one nearly as much, but maybe I am being stupid. Leave me a note in the comments if you understand why this is cool. Yeah? Yeah. Mission 3, Spike Data Core. A fringe cognitator bank, Xenos node or Scry terminal provides a vulnerable access point to a facility vital to the war effort. Reinforcement of the system is crucial before enemy agents sabotage it by spiking its esoteric data core and penetrating its layered defense. So it's like a flipped version of the other map. There's 3 in the middle, and then we're on long edges this time. The alarm is raised if an intruder performs the breach defense layer action. Oh, so the alarm is raised if they do it once, so there's no more 3 times. Okay, different. Let's see. Access terminal. An operative can perform this action while it controls the objective marker that has not been accessed during the turning point. If it does so, the objective marker has been accessed this turning point. Okay. Which is what scores you the VP. So, you can't do that. Or you could pointlessly do it, but it wouldn't do anything. It would have no effect in the Sentries phase. So it's stand on the objective, spend an AP, and get a VP. Breach defense layer. An operative the attacker controls can perform this action while it controls the objective marker and no objective markers the alpha terminal. Until the end of the battle, that objective marker is the alpha terminal. Huh. So the attacker decides which one's going to be the alpha terminal. The attacker tries to turn one into the alpha terminal in the Sentry phase, which I already think is biased towards the attacker. Again, like Mission 2, I feel bad because I got hyped for Mission 1. I thought Mission 1 was kind of cool. Again, I'm not seeing how this isn't just kind of sad for the defender, right? Because the defender's trying to stop. The attacker can designate something as the alpha terminal. The attacker can also position themselves on the alpha terminal at the start of the game. The defender has to deposition 2 of his units, 2 of his models. If the defender stops the attacker in the Sentries phase, so if they do really well with their Sentries, they roll their way and get to control their Sentries and roll high for the movement, and they manage to spot the attacker, then all they've done, even during the game, it's only the attacker that can decide, oh, this will be worth 2 VP now. So, yeah, I don't. Am I not getting something? Comment section, like the first one, the map's symmetrical. The first one seemed really good. Like the first mission, where I could really see, oh, but the defender's side is easier to hold down. Like, oh, they just seem a little bit unbalanced to me. And like, I understand they're not for bleeding edge competitive play, but like narrative play is only really fun. It's fun, but you want a balanced game still. Like, unless I don't know. Maybe Games Workshop have a lot of experience writing games, but I just don't see, unless there's something in the core Sentries rules that gives some kind of benefit to defenders that I've missed. Mission 4, designated priorities. Sentries, yes. Designate key asset. So it's raised if there are 3 objective markers. Designate 3 objective. The alarm is also raised if there are 3 designated objective markers. So return to form is an action, a special action you can do 3 times. It also says an intruder is within 2 circle of opponent's drop zone. So you're allowed to get much closer to your opponent's drop zone in this map than any of the others so far. If there are fewer than 3 designated objective markers, the defender selects a number of non-designated objective markers to become the designated markers until there are 3. Oh, I think I like that. Once there are 3 designated objective markers, all non-designated objective markers are removed from the kill zone. Oh, this is swingy but fun, right? Like, I kind of get this now. So, okay, this game is to an extent won or lost in the Sentry step, but at least there's a balance to it. So, they've got to sneak their operative around designating the markers. If they manage to designate the 3 that are over on their half of the board, then those are the only 3 objective markers for the game, and they're over on their half of the board. If they don't manage to designate those 3, the attacker will designate it, the defender rather, will instead designate the ones nearest the defender. That's cool. I like Mission 4, I like Mission 1, I don't understand Mission 2 or Mission 3. I really, like, I want to hope that I'm wrong. Like, Mission 1 and Mission 4 seem pretty cool, because they have things where, if you're the defender, you don't just feel like you're controlling the NPCs in an RPG, right? Mission 2 and Mission 3 just seem like the attacker's got a chance to capitalise on an advantage, but if they fail to capitalise on their advantage, they haven't lost anything. You see what I mean? Whereas Mission 1 and 4, I like the fact that the attacker has a chance to capitalise on advantage, but if you catch their guy, then the defender gets an advantage instead. That's fun to me. Right, let's have a look at the last 2. Mission 5, Secure Supplies. The latest nighttime resupply drop has drifted off course. Several vital missions planned months in advance depend upon them. Those supplies must be secure before the enemy's scout can loot or sabotage them. Okay, sentries with no modifiers. So, sabotage supplies. An operative the attacker controls can perform this action while it controls a non-sabotaged objective marker until the end of the battle that marker is sabotaged. Okay. Secure supplies, 1 or 2 AP. An operative can perform this action while it controls an objective marker that has not been secured during the turning point. If it does so, the objective marker has been secured this turning point. If it has been sabotaged, it costs 2 AP. If it hadn't, it costs 1 AP. Huh. So now we're back to providing an advantage for the attacker, although admittedly one that's really hard for them to get, because if they sabotage the things that are near to them, they'll hurt themselves because they'll need to spend 2 AP to secure them. So they're kind of trying to head out into enemy territory and sabotage the things close to the defender, and the defender's trying to stop them. It's more balanced than I think the 2 or 3 were, but it's not as good as 1 or 4. Because the defender, if they stop them, they don't get an advantage on the stopped them. I think they should get a little leg up, right, for pulling that off. Yeah. Mission 6. Initiate transmission. A multi-hub communication site is patrolled by the enemy, who attempt to use it to intercept our transmissions or transmit misinformation. Our specialist unit must infiltrate the site to issue a priority-coded warning to High Command before any data is harvested. Sentries, and if they perform amplify transmission action once or initiate transmission twice. Interesting. Map is boring. Let's see. Initiate transmission 1 AP. An operative can perform this action while it controls an objective marker that is not transmitting for your kill team until the end of the battle. That objective marker is transmitting for your kill team. Note that each objective marker can be transmitting for both kill teams at once. Amplify transmission. You perform this action while it controls a non-amplified objective marker. If there are fewer than 2 amplified objective markers in the kill zone, Until the end of the battle, that objective marker is amplified. At the end of the turning point, each objective marker friendly operatives control that is transmitting for your kill team, you score 1 VP. If that objective marker is also amplified, you score 2 VPs. Ha. Huh. I like and I hate this mission. I almost like the idea of this mission without... No, I don't. I like the fact, the bit I like is the jeopardy that the player with the operative has, where it's like, oh, well, I want to amplify... No, I want to initiate a transmission, ideally, on a faraway objective, and then afterwards try and sneak back. Like the best play, given it ends with two initiates or one amplify, is to go and initiate somewhere in the middle, and then go back to your base and amplify. Maybe what you do is you play it safe and you just walk to your nearby objective, and then you go, okay, initiate and then amplify. I don't know, but I like the jeopardy there. But again, it suffers. There's no leg up for the defender if they stop the attacker. So is it going to be less fun to play as the defender? Potentially. I think two of these missions, I think 1 and I think I said 3 are really fun, where there's like an asymmetric thing going on. The ones where the maps are symmetrical and where there's nothing built into the rules that gives the defender an advantage for defending well in the Sentries phase, I think might be flawed. But let's have a think. So when Zimban and I, hopefully, I can persuade him to give these a little go. I think they deserve a play. Do you think you're going to give them a go? How much stock do you put in to the fact that they're called critical operations or shadow operations? So I foolishly, when this was being discussed on Glass Half Dead's Discord, I foolishly said, oh, well, yeah, I could see Warhammer World dropping one of these into a round in between two missions from the other pack, and both Can You Roll a Crit of YouTube fame and Ace, the guy who recently won the Kill Team at the Las Vegas Open and is a top player in the Spanish meta, both jump down. Oh, no, they won't do that. I don't know if that's some insight and some understanding of how the Warhammer World Events team view the game, or whether that's just wishful thinking and not wanting anything like more random and non-standard to wreck up the meta. I don't know. I'm torn. I think they're cool, but I also think that they're very open to being cheesed by people. Like the thing I was describing at the start, where if you really wanted to be annoying about it, you could hide your guy behind a wall in your drop zone, your attacker, and then just make the defender's sentries mill around until they were right in the open, and then you could kill one easily. I think it's too... Without having played it, and I want to give it a go, without having played it, I think it's probably too easy for the attacker to accomplish things with their operative. And I think that the missions that aren't really risk-reward, so where because being the attacker has so many advantages. You control your so you're getting a pre-game move. So straight away for your operative, you choose a combat guy or a melter gun guy, right? So even if you don't manage to do any of the mission shenanigans, you've got up the table at least somewhat, right? And you've got the benefit of being on a conceal in turn 1 until you activate and being able to flip to engage. Whereas the defenders are stuck out there on engage, unable to flip to conceal until they activate, right? And at least a third of the missions didn't really punish you if you failed to get the advantage, but you were then playing an even scenario. Like, at least a third of the missions were, if you took away the scouting phase, then if you took away the sentry phase, they'd still be pretty even. That's my read of it. Please, I want to be wrong. I want you to say, no, you're wrong, and they're really interesting backwards and forwards games that are fun for both players. Write that in the comments. I think it's really easy to imagine how fun these are and get carried away in oh, I'd have great fun in these missions as the attacker. I think you would. Would you have great fun in them as the defender? Maybe. I really like mission 1. I'd give that a go. Mission 1, I think I said 4. I think they could be more. I don't know. Are you willing to give it a go? I'm willing to give it a go. Is Zimbad willing to give it a go? I don't know. If we give it a go, we might do a little battle report, or at least something of that ilk. Oh, I haven't turned the volume down. Discord notification. So professional. Well, if you want to support my ultra professionalism, please like and subscribe, and you can join the Discord, right? There's a link in the description, and then you can be the source of the very next video interruption where I failed to turn down the sound. How about that? Yeah, give me your thoughts on this. Subscribe to the channel. Already said that. Saying it again, say it every video, but then it's working. The number is going up, so you know, good. And yeah, have a great evening. Cheerio, everybody, and maybe I'll see you again tomorrow. I'm on a little roll at the moment, so yeah, have a good one. Bye now. Bye bye.